Where I left off, a place to call home from the OSB magazine. As you can see, keeping these people employed too. Every child in need of a parent, supporting adoption agencies, Boy Scouts of America, Girl Scouts, UNICEF. The Pope, everybody else. Honestly, movies can't have all that. God Bless the Kingdom of Heaven, the movie, and all those who starred in it. A nice tale, favorites of mine. Pride and Prejudice. Here at my house in ElizabethTown. Big bachelor pad. People should drop by, have a nice fireplace. Make some amazing smorgasbord. You have to bring 5 logs just to get it going, otherwise you'll have quite the workout. You'll be feeling like you're in push-up level. And then when it's going out, you wish it never stopped. Now you know how campers feel when their fires are coming to an end. Not just on Star Trek. Much love. Carrying on. And again, St. James, right here. Not far from where I live, and rent costs and everybody else I support and keep employed. For a single father with a psychology degree, and a family of nurses and military officers. My mom and parents live in Washington, and they're die-hard listeners too. Being the dad of a 7-year-old son. I want more kids, but with the right person, not someone who treats you like crap. Someone petite, full-figured, smart-minded, not afraid to watch NASCAR, what have you. Enjoys a good cook. Let's see here. By James K. Hanna. When Father Bob Sedalia learned that the occupied car had been parked in the parish lot for several days in spring of 2013, he went to investigate. He found a woman and her 2 children in the vehicle. This is one such foster adoption story of many and millions all over the world that I care about and pray that these kids get adopted from my home. Much love. There are times in your life when you say to yourself, wow. According to the mothers, that they lost their home and felt safe parking on church properties at the former pastor of St. Anne Parish in Castle Shannon near Pittsburgh. They are living in the car. There are times in your life when you say to yourself, wow, I am at a loss to help this one of those times. Father Sedalia, who is now a pastor at Holy Sepulchre Church and Parish in Butler, Pennsylvania, said that although he felt helpless, he was determined to find a solution. I asked her about money and food and told her, don't worry, we are going to take care of you. Those children could be counted amongst the nearly 2.5 million children in the United States who experience homelessness in 2013. According to a report released last November by the Massachusetts-based National Center on Family Homelessness and American Institute for Research. Counting the homeless, the report titled America's Youngest Outcast notes that 1 in every 30 children in the United States experienced homelessness in 2013, an increase of 8% over the previous year. That's in the U.S., that's not including around the world. For accurate counting homeless children in the United States must start with a comprehensive definition of child homelessness. The report stated the study uses the McKinley-Vento definition in the U.S. Department of Education school-based count of students are homeless at the basis from which he makes the estimate. The definition includes homeless children living in doubled-up situations with relatives or friends, as well as children living in motel, hotel, trailer parks, camping grounds, or similar settings according to the study. What would eventually become the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act, a federal legislative assistance act. Legislative response to homelessness was passed and signed into law by President Ronald Reagan on July 22, 1987. Who knew that? The act has been reauthorized several times over the years. According to the cause of child homelessness include the nation's high-powered rate and the lack of affordable housing across the nation. The continued affordable housing across the nation, continuing impact of the Great Recession, racial disparities, the challenge of single parenting, and the ways in which one example narration of fathers Adele discovering St. Anne's parking lot in his book All the Masses one weekend about using our empty covenant to provide shelter. Our parishioners embraced it. The response was overwhelming. He said parishioner Marion Mannion had been instrumental in organizing the effort to repurpose the covenant. We reconnected in an interfaith hospitality network known as Family Promise. Mannion said Family Promise is a nationwide economical ministry that partners with local congregations to provide shelter and support to homeless families while keeping them intact. Mannion stressed the impact of a shelter for intact families when a mother had a 15-year-old son. He may have to go to a men's shelter while she goes to a women's shelter. With our approach, we can keep families together as much as possible. Today, the suburban Pittsburgh parish can be accommodated up for our families at the same time. More than 200 volunteers, including many Catholics from a neighboring parishioners, have agreed to share the work of preparing meals, providing families activities, transportation, and overnight supervision. Those volunteers include Carla Wilding and her 3 teenage daughters. Often the families we meet don't appear remarkably different from our own. But when they do, we still find common ground. They want the best for their children. Their kids like video games and superheroes and ice cream cake. They root passionately for the Steelers, Wilding shares. I'm so proud of my girls because they interact so effortlessly with people whose life circumstances are quite different from our own. They engage the children of family bonds as if they were siblings or neighbors. Our parish mission statement calls us to be a sign of Christ. Presence for the community and the ministry blessings us with opportunity to meet that mission. She added, we have learned so much about the cause of homelessness. The family are on the edge financially. Many have experienced events beyond their control, such as illness or injury, which leaves them unable to pay their rent, while others have made poor decisions in finance, employment, relationships, or otherwise. Each family has a unique story. While Wilding observed, Wilding noted that many of these parents have grown up with their enormous challenges themselves and are caught in the cycle of poverty. Few are blessed with extended family support, educational advantage, or caring faith community. These families lack the foundation in life that we are often taken for granted, she said. Anne Marie House affirms the need for shelters for interaction families especially. She has been the development and volunteer coordinator for Good Shepherd Center for Homeless Women and Children, a program of Catholic charities in Los Angeles for 10 years. God bless you all over there, especially in California. And those who are looking at one big oil mess that won't be cleaned up before June anytime soon. If you want your kids to live, I suggest you keep them out of the ocean, period. I feel for the 7-year-old dad, mom who has to explain to his kid why bathtub is it for a while. God bless them. The 10 years, unlike Good Shepherd and many shelters, will not accept children over age 12 because of the close quarters at Good Shepherd. The mother and her children of any age are housed in an apartment house. The most of the hopelessness she had encountered as a result of the economic struggles she had. That most of the moms are really trying, so it's embarrassing the number of children who are experiencing homeless. How also highlights the stretch in teachers in inner city Los Angeles schools. Many teenagers find themselves in shelters in the Skid Row area where they have a cot for the night, are wakened at 5 in the morning and sent to school, where teachers have the responsibility to not only teach but also try to keep the children away. They tell of homelessness. One person who experienced homelessness as a teen alone without shelters is Wayne Richard of Chicago. That whereabouts of Richard's father were unknown, which his mother died. Before his first birthday, he was taken and raised by a grandmother on Chicago's South Side until she died. When he was 13, his grandfather would not allow him to stay, so he took off on his own. He said, often sleeping in the open, wondering when it is safe to close my eyes. Question: where do I use the bathroom at night? Should I have my shoes on? Or should I have my shoes on? Those rats don't get into them. You're looking at Care Bear, who leads by example. Yes, not just at restaurants. If you women really did your homework, you would know that Kipper is not afraid to test out a shelter, even for a week. He's that real, that caring, that kind, that protective. How do you know if you've never tried it out? Not just on a chess game. I lead by example, and even in front of millions. I would not put families, military, even in harm's way without trying and forced, not just at restaurants. Cat means exactly that. Carrying on, Richard R. told our Sunday visitors again that it's distressing as those questions may be: real homelessness, the real loss, the real cost. By the way, people who became homeless don't like being called homeless at all, period. They didn't ask to be homeless, standing up for them on their behalf. There are people out there day and night in front of trash can fires trying to keep these people sane or in check, giving them a reason to live. Through the good Lord's work, their Bibles, not just watching movies like The Replacement Killers or what have you, freelance writers, not a good movie. All kinds of movies that help keep kids in schools, not doing something ignorant like drugs. Stay out of drugs, kids. Crime don't pay here, especially in my town, ElizabethTown. Distressing as those questions may be, real homelessness, the real loss, the real cost, and that will be no one to say good morning to. Ending the cycle of homelessness, Richard said, is not only about having a place to call home, but also having a place in a circle of people. A place in other people's hearts, a place in community, a place in other people's lives. While homeless, Richard began to use drugs. I depended on the drugs more and more, relieved the pain of living and the lack of nutrient relationships in my life. Richard wrote in an account of his life on the ISP website. He was lost, high, homeless, and desperate. As an inspirational letter, he writes, I was ready to end my life. I sat under a bridge with a gun in my mouth, tears in my eyes. Now my descent was complete. My final thought as I was about to squeeze the trigger was, God, why wouldn't you love me? Questioning himself. And then it happened. A miracle. In that instant, it was as if time stood still and I heard a voice as clear as my own. Get up. Leave here. There's something else for you to do, he wrote. I knew I had to find freedom from the bondage of addiction and anger, bitterness, pity, and ignorance of self. I desperately needed to live without the fear of loneliness that had guided my action. I knew that only God would restore me to wholeness. During his stay as a transitional center, Richard attended a retreat for the homeless sponsored by the Chicago-based Initiation Spiritually Project ISP. On the retreat, at the end of the exam, the continuous presence of God in my life. Richard wrote that it was in 1999. Since then, he had stayed sober. He is employed as a senior community organizer with the Chicago Coalition for the Homeless, where he works with those experiencing homelessness, and he was helped head more than 60 retreats for ISP. I see God move people on the retreats to faith and hope. Richard said, Initiation retreats. IFE is a retreat experience inspired by initiation purity for spiritually focusing on recovery from drug and alcohol addiction, often the cause or result of homelessness for an individual and family. According to Jordan Scar, director of programs ISP, traces its founding to 1998 meeting between founded to 1998 meeting between Jesus Father Bill Creed and Ed Shearer, director for the Chicago Coalition for Homelessness. Mr. Sean was attempting to create an experience to help build common community hope and transfer formation amongst those. While Father Bill, a well-known Jesuit spiritual director, was responding to an invitation from his promise of beginning an office to those living on the margins, his car said, by listening to people who were experiencing homelessness, the co-founder discovered that in many cases their spiritual life was a source of hope. Amid deep discouragement, together they developed a retreat that draws on both the 500-year-old tradition of initiation, spirituality, and contemporary language of recovery, such as the 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. The retreat was designed for persons both homeless and in recovery to help them find meaning and purpose, Scott said, by helping people tend to their spiritual lives. The retreats help them. You can see that's the photos of this retreat, where they live, and what they do for kids. Claim they want to be, in many cases, the means to be a parent. In this sense, if only there were such places to help kids get adopted, in other countries. Obviously, we are learning very quickly how outside the box Care Bear thinks, not just for one individual person, but for millions. Yes, all races, all cultures. What does church mean? A family as a whole. Claim who they want to be. In many cases, this means to be a parent, and in this sense, the retreat can have a real impact on ending child homelessness by bringing families back together. Retreat teams are formed of volunteers in various settings who complete a program of formation and also include formerly homeless and those currently experiencing homeless who offer witness and provide experiencing companionship. To supplement the overnight retreat experience, ISP develops follow-up days of reflection and no one-on-one spiritual companionship to continue spirit of transformation forged on retreats. The retreat fosters this sense of peace and freedom. Scars and so ongoing formation helps each other individual grow into the full person God intended through an ever-deepening connection to one's true self and greater sense of communication with God and with larger communities. It takes a failure of many systems for someone to end up on the street. We hope our programs continue our missions of providing hope by nurturing the spiritual life to ultimately end the injustice of a homelessness. Renee writes, a program officer with ISB, also shared how the retreat helps end children homelessness. Some of the women living in shelters who attend retreats have young children, and those children are in the care of related relatives of the state welfare system. By helping parents with their recovery, we also help heal and reunite families, As an adjunct to the retreat's rights facilities, a week spiritual group of Chicago Sisters House, a temporary home for the woman seeking recovery from substance abuse and sponsored by the School of Sisters in Notre Dame. She recalls a participant who shared that having the ongoing spiritual group strengthened her and desire to be a good parent, and even though she missed her child, she felt she was doing the best thing by completing the program at Sister House. In that way, we help children by helping parents in their recovery. A volunteer works with a young girl through Family Promise in Washington, PA. Social Justice Father John Rush, a priest of the Glen Mary Home missionaries who have served to the Appalachian region of eastern Kentucky for 4 decades, points out that the increase in children without homes is not limited to the city or suburbs. Child homelessness, no geographic boundaries, he said in Appalachian. We have disproportionate and growing numbers of children in double-up situations are being raised by grandparents, most of which is caused by the drug culture. The drug use is a result of having a few opportunities economically predatory economics and a lack of diverse industries. When there is no opportunity and no hope, what one can depend on? Question. He said, many turn to drugs, alcohol, and illicit use of prescriptions. Unfortunately, there they find something they cannot depend on, often resulting in an abandonment of their children or worse, jail. This is why you must pray for such people. Do the right thing in front of their kids, because it's not right that your kid grows up thinking it's okay if you're doing it. It's not. When you're 18 and you become of age, you know that it's time you stand on your 2 feet and learn by your own mistakes. Everybody must do right. There's no such thing as going wrong. Life's a journey best shared, never alone. That's why it's good to keep anything. A parent should give you a Bible to help along the way. Sooner or later they know you'll come home for Christmas. And we rekindle such family things. Those waiting to be adopted, keep praying. I know the good Lord will help you with that. The message is clear, reading on, and is found throughout the documentary heritage of the church, social teaching from encyclicals, including Sentimus Annus, the 100th Year by Pope St. John Paul II, two pastoral letters such as An Economic Justice for All U.S. Bishops, 1986, it is a message of justice on the calls of all Catholics to be agents of change. What is needed, Father Ross added, is a smaller university community, neighbors coming together to work to eliminate the problems Catholic social teaching gives us. The themes of human dignity, solidarity, and subsidy that should lead us not only in parish programs that reach out to people, but also in the development of solutions such as buying, cooperative working on business, as you can see. Tom Mullen, the police advisor in the Office of Domestic Social Development, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, echo Father Ross. Dignity of the human portion, preferential option for the poor should be our guidance for policy making. We acknowledge that we are making the image of God, Mullen said. He suggested that the Catholic of the witness of both Benedict and Pope Francis have been that charity and justice are inseparable and work hand in hand. Pope Benedict, he said, is caritas and veritate. If we love each other with charity, reward them not only in justice, not extraneous to charity. Not only is it not an alternative or parallel path to charity, justice is inseparable from charity and strength intrinsic to it. Molloy proposed two ways to lift up that witness regarding the cycle of homelessness and child homelessness. First, make sure their daily needs are met for food, housing, and clothing. Second, I would like to encourage every Catholic to educate oneself on local and nation needs, learn what the challenges are, and then opening a conservation legislation and communicate concern. The Church has taught plainly and steadily that the shelter and housing is a human right, and we are a society and community have obligations to make sure that happens, especially for those who might most vulnerable. Malloy said, it is moral feeling that here we are in 2015, and we're talking about 2.5 million children experiencing homelessness. It is not an extractable problem. We have those resources to solve that problem, but do we have the will? James K. Hanna holds a master's degree in theology and is an online instructor for the University of Notre Dame STEP program. God bless y'all over there keeping this foundation going. As you can see, it is the call home. Such places, missionaries don't exist for a reason, yeah? Even in your place, like Israel, Jerusalem, God bless those priests keeping those missionaries, kids safe from harm. I was watching Man on Fire last night. Something good happens every time I watch that movie. Do you know why? Because I'm the one against sex slavery and everything else. I don't allow it here in the U.S. or anywhere else. No, it should not be tolerated. It should not be allowed. That is why people at gates search cars, look under roofs, search cargo trailers, Search the inside walls, search steel bins, stuff coming off tankers, 2-ton tankers, what have you, that aren't even marked or listed. They need to be searched. They need to be searched inside the walls too. Anywhere in a house that's brand new, unused, even in a brand new neighborhood where they could hide a body that might fit, that wall needs to be looked at routinely, not just illegal rental scam prevention. Help prevent sex slavery, slavery in general, period, even in sheds. That's why I keep mine locked. My grandmother grew up in something besides that shed in my backyard. She kept the whole family together for an OR nurse at 93 before she passed away. I miss her a great deal. Much love to all you, those of you in New York, in a resting place area. I live in a big city and keeping that town going and everybody else. Tourists, coach buses, you name it, the works. Also, Dollywood, you should check out her site, Dollywood.com, if you're touring here in Kentucky and need a place to take the kids to. They got rides, roller coasters. That's Dollywood, one word.com. Much love to her, being her grandson, right-hand honcho here, Supporter Jr. And everybody else watching Country Music Awards the other night. Amazing show, seeing Arnold again, another vivid friend of mine that's a brother from a different mom, who doesn't feel old like me watching my channel. I make them feel young again, not just in movies. Much love to all you out there, especially Esquire magazine front page Mr. Italian Job. God bless that Aussie and everybody else over there in Australia, not just at the zoos I support and keep employed. Also, visit us online at www.osd.com. Amazing Catholic newspaper, not just reading it in Jerusalem on cell phones. Yes, marvelous. And also Catholic Answers. CHN Network as well. .org. And it's OSB this week from a squared away pastor who watches over me and everything else, like generals, people I care about all over the world. They have satellites up there. They make sure people who are 6 feet in the ground who died for this planet in the interest of peace hear my voice. Obviously, they're not just rust buckets up there. They get the signal out very quickly all over the world in different languages. I always tell it like it is. News every 24 hours, 7 days a week. And keep in mind, this site is always growing. There's someone always wanting to add something educational on here with a purpose, not just in different cultures, different races. Much love to all you who put this site together, and the hard work and dedication and sacrifices you make from your families, especially those who bring their families to work. God bless you, right here at my home. Much love from a single dad who knows right from wrong and tells it like it is with integrity. Integrity is everything. We must all remember where we're from and who we are. Without family or friends, where would you be now? Nothing would have been possible if it weren't for the friend 9 years ago while you were running around in diapers, huh? It's important to remember such friends, such stepping stones in life. A bridge, a friendship that can never be broken, even in different languages. God bless you all. Having said all that, I'm going to say a prayer that God watch over you and everybody else out there in the world. May you find dedication with conviction and courage. Where you feel at a loss, may it be replaced with hope. May it be inspired by a spark that just won't go out, just won't quit, and just sure as hell won't die anytime soon. From a guy who says just a guardian angel who cares for the whole world and all you souls. I'm not looking just at you, I'm looking at your very soul. I already know all about you because your family's standing right next to you, as I said before, in the afterlife. They point out him or her, hey, that one, could you keep an eye out for her? I'll be okay. That's what they want to tell you to your face. I'm never too far away, even in him. I'm that strong, that gifted, that carry. I'll reach out to somebody flying through here and say a prayer on their behalf. I'm never wrong, not even predicting the weather. God help those who are military deployed. May they come home safely, even while watching war movies like We Were Soldiers, Platoon, Black Hawk Down, David, Green Beret, John Wayne, even Dukes of Hazzard, favorites of mine. Or The Notebook, or The Lake House, Sandra Bullock, amazing actress. One Sexy Mama, Cameron Diaz, Bad Teacher, you name it. All those actors, actresses, Anne Hathaway, Devil Wears Prada, all of them. Sports Illustrated Swimsuit, Victoria's Secret, all those models who come here once in a while, knowing that they always have a house to come to and turn to, and you need to start over or turn to going on to something new, a transition point. As much as the Furious crew, Amelia, Miss Tuna Fish, and Furious What, all you always have a place to call home. Any Fred Abide of Paul's, it's a Fred Abide. Goes without saying. I did see her movie. That was amazing. Especially the ending. If only such relationships were like that. It takes work, dedication. Two people, not one. If it's one and you blow a person off because you're too busy to care, it's not going to work. It takes two with a lot of work and a lot of patience, a lot of heart. That's coming from someone with a relationship experience. Trust me, you have not been hurt like I have. None of you. And I wouldn't want that hurt on anybody. That's coming from someone who takes a beating on your behalf with a God in me. Much love to all you at your homes, wherever you may be watching this. I hope it inspires you to do better with the good Lord's not far away. And all those who watch over you, praying that you do the right thing from here on out. Because drugs and stupidity and crime ain't it. That's the path you cannot follow. If someone's doing that, marijuana, selling fake drugs, what have you, you should do the right thing and report them. Move out of there. It's not safe. A real person wants a neighborhood to be safe, you gotta take action. With action comes catches, like having to take them to court, blah, 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 whatever it takes. How is a neighborhood going to be safe if you don't stand up for your family or those you love? There's a number 1-800-CRIME tips. You don't even have to leave your name. Use a cell phone carrier. Hey, this person's doing this. Send it to them by email. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Much love. As I said before, there's always one person doing right for many that average crime person wants to take out first. They want to turn this place into a zoo. Good luck. We're always watching one step ahead of everybody else. And we don't tolerate crime. You sure as hell don't tolerate offenders or anything else in this neighborhood. That's why it's safe. Period. No exceptions. You can ask the mayor. He or she hasn't gone so much golfing in years. Thanks to when Care Bear shows up. God. Kentucky Derby, God bless them, all them horse races, and everybody else I support, not just watching the movie Seabiscuit. Much love. God bless you. Right here at home.